You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Tuesday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby. Good to see you here. You made it out of the driveway okay this morning?
Oh my God. Yeah, it was just endless snow all weekend.
What a nightmare it was, dude. Yesterday, I got the snowblower, the battery-powered Ryobi snowblower, which is just enough for my own driveway. But at some point yesterday evening, we went out for dinner. Red Lobster, still open, still great.
Nice.
And when we came back, part of sort of my wall on the edge that I'd carved out had fallen into the driveway. And it's garbage day in my neighborhood, so I needed to build a little garbage shelf for the bags and the bins.
Okay.
So we get home, and I'm like, I'm going to do this now so that I'm not inside, get lazy, get tired, don't do it, have to do it first thing in the morning. I'm going to get right after it. So I go outside, grab the shovel, I start trying to rebuild the wall, I start carving out. Can I just say you should never shovel snow right after eating linguine? This is terrible.
Did you shit your pants?
I didn't shit my pants, but my heart shit its pants. I was going back inside. I'm like, oh my God, I needed to literally take a moment.
It's funny you say that. I saw something online that the Heart and Stroke Foundation was you should be careful shoveling if you have heart conditions.
Yeah.
Because apparently a lot of Canadians are prone to having heart attacks while shoveling.
Dude, it makes me so nervous. There's 3 houses across the street from me, branching out in different directions, that have fairly old fellas that live there, and they're all great dudes. But they will go outside after a big snowfall and just start hammering away on the driveway by themselves with shovels, no snowblower. And I'm just oh man, I'm going to look out my front window one day and at least one of you is going to be on the ground. You need to get somebody in
It's
here.
a great ad for a snowblower company, honestly. Don't want to die?
An old man face down in the driveway.
Yeah.
Arms reach from his shovel. Ryobi.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We got a real matchup for the final for the Four Nations Cup. Canada versus USA. A rematch of Saturday's Donnybrook there.
I feel and this is going to sound weird, but now that Canada has officially made the finals, I feel losing the Saturday game against the U.S. was a good thing because I think it makes them hungry and shows where they have to sort of work on the holes in their game. And if they want to come out and start fighting in the first 3 seconds again, that would also be really excellent.
A lot of people were saying this tournament doesn't matter. They're not playing that hard. If you watch that game on Saturday, this tournament matters.
I'll say it here, live on the air, because I've already told you off the air. On the air, I was so wrong about this tournament. I said on here, I was I don't know if I'm excited for it. This just feels like another weird all-star thing.
Well, and especially just with everything going on between our two countries right now, I think it's up the ante a little bit. Honestly, I think, I don't even think we're playing for this trophy anymore.
I don't even know what the trophy is. No, 100%. This is 100% come down to nationalistic pride between American hockey fans and Canadian hockey fans.
I think they should up the stakes even more, that if Canada loses this game, we become the 51st state.
Put it all on the line?
Yeah.
Well, okay, hang on. What do we win?
That would, if we win, no tariffs. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Dude, we always kind of make fun of Americans with hockey, though, because American hockey fans can be diehards, but a lot of people in the States do not watch hockey. With everything that's going on and this very blatant Canada versus U.S. gritty, physical, emotional matchup, I feel I haven't heard Donald Trump say anything about the Four Nations face-off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that doesn't sum up America's thoughts on hockey, the president, who is super anti-Canada right now, hasn't even tweeted about how they beat us on Saturday.
That's true. It would be the most Canadian way to lose our country, though.
Is he in a hockey game?
Right?
I think the only problem is if you want to make it super Canadian, we have to take it out of the arena in Boston and just find a pond somewhere. Really, a Mystery Alaska type situation.
Yeah.
That's what would make it even more authentic.
Honestly, you want to make it super Canadian? If we win, Trump just has to say sorry.
Oh my God. That actually might be the most valuable thing we could get out of him.
Yeah.
That might be the hardest thing to extract from the United States is an apology for the president.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Let's get real. All of us are working to just retire one day, hopefully.
100%.
Hopefully. But according to the Bank of Montreal, the average Canadian will need... Actually, I want to hit the Jeopardy music here.
Oh, boy.
How much money do you think the average Canadian needs to apparently comfortably retire.
So, like, you're in your 60s, 70s, whatever. In the bank, you have $750,000.
Higher.
Higher?
Higher.
You need $1 million to retire.
Over $1 million.
What?
Over $1 million.
Is it $2 million?
Just under 2.
Just under 2. Split the difference. 1.5.
1.54.
That's disgusting.
According to BMO, they say the average Canadian needs $1.54 million in the bank to retire comfortably in Canada. And I don't even know what the definition of living comfortable in our country is anymore.
Honestly, at this point, the way things are going, I mean, the fact that you're telling me you got to have a $1.5 million nest egg, I'm assuming that they're just expecting everything to get even
and that's
crazier.
right now. I mean, we're not even talking about in like 2035 as things continue to increase, right?
Oh my God, that's so nuts.
Remember when $1 million was a lot of money?
Remember when game shows would offer $1 million as the prize?
Who wants to be a millionaire?
And you'd be like, that would change your entire world. Now it's like, oh, well, that might set you up for retirement if you invested right.
It's gross, man. It says the survey finds over 3/4 of Canadians are worried they will not have enough money to retire.
I wasn't until right now.
Dude, look at your bank account and then you look at that number and you're like, no, it's never going to happen.
I'm like, okay, over the last few years, like I've really tried to get better with my money. I've been looking at like investments and stuff like that. I've been doing whatever the company lets us do with stocks here. And now all of a sudden, 1.5 million. I'm like, oh, great. I need a time machine.
Being a millionaire used to be a dream. Now it's a necessary.
You need to be a millionaire to retire, to sit at home and do nothing.
The Barenaked Ladies wrote a song, If I Had $1 Million. It's I Need $1 million.
If I had $1 million, I'd be on financial assistance.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
If I had $1 million. I'd be rich.
That's the biggest crock.
You're not rich at all.
Everybody talks about Baby It's Cold Outside and all these other songs with the lyrics not aging well. The Barenaked Ladies, If I Had $1 million, has not aged well at all.
So to be fair, I just looked this up because we were talking about the song. In 1992, when the song came out, if you adjust for inflation, $1 million is actually closer to $2 million. So they would at least have enough to retire, according to the banks.
But if you break the song down now in 2025, the whole if I had $1 million, I'd buy you a house and put furniture in your house. The average house here in Canada, I Googled this, is $723,000.
Dude, in Toronto alone, the average price is $1.2 million. So your $1 million does not buy you a house in Toronto anymore.
Where are you buying this furniture from is the real thing. Are you getting it all from the Restore?
Oh, it's all IKEA.
Yeah.
It's all cheap particle board. It's all going to fall apart. There's nothing lasting.
They're talking about buying cars and all this stuff and fur coats and everything like that and putting all these pre-wrapped sausages in there. You gone to the butcher shop lately, dude? The butcher shop runs you back $100 at least.
Dude, even when they're talking about craft dinner and they're like, we wouldn't have to eat craft dinner, but we still would. You might have to eat craft dinner, and even that's getting more expensive. Probably on some President's Choice mac and cheese.
Has the idea of what is being rich in our country changed, or just in general, like being rich, I feel like has changed a lot?
I think the thing is that we've made what used to be middle class, like that window has gotten bigger, because I would honestly say that if you knew someone with $1 million, I don't know that you call them rich anymore. You'd call them maybe comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that guy's doing okay.
Well off, yeah.
But I don't think you get into rich until there's at least 8 figures on the sheet. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I think that's the biggest thing, is that the gaps are widening to how rich you have to be before you're really rich.
Even in Austin Powers, when Dr. Evil says $1 billion, they laughed at him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's it. Eh?
Now there's billionaires. It's a real thing right now.
That's crazy that you want to hold the world hostage and have less money than about 50, 60 old white dudes. That's a weird flex.
The idea of having a monkey was a funny idea. Now it's how you're starting an army these days.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Gotta give a big shout out to anyone with a snowplow, anyone who shoveled someone's driveway. Anyone who you helped out in the neighborhood this weekend?
How far did you get? Because I know you're a big neighborhood plow guy. How far did you get with the snowblower?
You're not going to believe this. Did someone's driveway. They had a bunch of sticks.
Yeah?
Messed up my blower.
No.
Actually. Yeah.
Oh, that
I was
sucks.
pissed, dude. I was pissed. That's what I get for helping people out.
I've been trying to tell you. You're too generous with that snowblower of yours. And now it's finally... I was working on my driveway so much, I couldn't keep, because I got the battery, the Ryobi one. I didn't have the juice to help out the neighbors. I felt bad because I saw like neighbors were grabbing shovels and helping out, going door to door and stuff like that. I was just like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I bought a blower.
I mean,
for a
someone
reason.
sees you coming with the battery operated snowblower. They're like, that's okay, pal. That's okay.
No one's looking at me the way they look at you. But it was enough to do my own driveway.
Lots of people going through the neighborhood, though, man. Some real MVPs out there this weekend.
Dude, I found out there's people in my neighborhood who just got quads with plows on the front.
Nice.
They were going around, and it looked like the adult equivalent of like when kids would go around back in the day and like knock on the door and be like, shovel your driveway for $20.
I saw that too, man. I saw kids going up and down the street. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I didn't really see any kids in my neighborhood, but I watched these guys on quads like drive up people's driveways with the plow and go knock on the door. And then they'd go back, and all of a sudden they're plowing. I have to assume business was being done at the front door.
Yeah.
Like that. What a side hustle.
The
If
amount
you've
of
got
people
the
that were
equipment.
like mid shoveling their driveway and they see someone driving up with a plow on the front, and it's like,
Well, you just hope. Like, it's the same when you're in the neighborhood and you see somebody with a snowplow. You're just like, I'm not going to go over and ask them, but I do just hope. The dream is that someone will come over and be like, I'll take it from here, bucko.
Yeah.
Even if they do offer you or say like, hey, if you give me some money, I'll
well,
do
nothing
this.
comes for free. You know?
Oh, there's many times before I got my snowblower, I'd be out shoveling where I'd just be like, if someone comes to my house and offers to do this for me, I will give them all the money in my pocket right now. I will pay them. And it got me thinking. I was like, I don't know if my little Mazda vehicle has a front mount for a plow, but what a great way to make some side money in Canada in the winter.
It'd be so funny to see out on like a little Ford Fiesta or something.
Right? Like, you're used to seeing it on like 250s.
Can
and
you
stuff
put a
like
plow
that.
on like any car?
I feel like with enough ingenuity and enough like gumption, you can put a plow on anything.
Yeah.
Will it work? Well, we'll find out, I guess.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
In this economy, we're all looking for ways to make a little bit more money, pad the bank account a little bit. Side hustles have never been bigger, with people doing deliveries and driving people around in their own personal cars. I thought we could try and figure out what would make a great Canadian side hustle.
I mean, wood guy.
Wood guy is a good one. When you drive by somebody's driveway and they've got the like little bundles of wood with the homemade sign, like that's a person that, one, hardworking, two, I bet just rakes it in.
Oh, easily. Yeah, wood guy, even maple syrup guy is another one.
Dude, yeah, I've always wished that I had maple in the backyard just to try it. Just to try it. If you've got an abundance of maple trees and you're not trying to sling your own syrup, feels like a missed opportunity.
Feels like a waste, honestly.
I think that there is a market for ice guys. And I'm talking about backyard rinks, backyard curling sheets, that sort of thing. Like, everybody knows that one dad that like spoils his kids and makes the little backyard rink, floods the backyard every winter. Take your services on the road. Advertise on like Facebook, go to people's yards and just start putting rinks up.
For all the dads who can't figure out how to just put like 2x4s in the ground.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Like, I would have no idea. Like, I could probably...
You could charge someone a lot of money just to flood the backyard.
I
yeah.
could probably turn my backyard into a sheet of ice, but not one worth skating on.
Sure.
To somebody who knows what they're doing out there, this is a lucrative side hustle.
100%. Yeah.
Also saw from friend of the show, Ashley, texted in, said, what about someone who just delivers double-doubles? Just like a very specific version.
Skip the dishes.
Of skip the dishes, but it's for people like you who always get mad at the Tim Hortons drive-thru. Let somebody else deal with the stress of sitting behind somebody ordering 6 farmers wraps at 5 a.m. Somebody else can take or here's another one. We're always apologizing to each other. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing in the world. What about somebody who will apologize on your behalf?
Like a sorry hotline or something?
Exactly. You could send it in. It's like the same way that you send into a flower shop, like, hey, send roses to my girlfriend or whatever.
That's actually a great idea.
It's like, I cut off my boss in the work parking lot yesterday. Can you send him a sorry? And they just call him up. Oh, I just want to let you know Jeff's real sorry about how it went down yesterday.
Yeah, I yelled at the refs pretty hard at the game the other night.
Can you call up that 14-year-old?
Yeah, could you stop by his school and let him know how sorry I am?
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Is it real? Is it fake? Do we even care? Let's find out.
So I found a new band yesterday called The Weather Station because they're apparently going to be going out on tour later on this year. And I was confused because I thought it was talking about the television channel, The Weather Network, and was trying to figure out what that tour would be.
Doing like the ESPN game day thing, yeah.
So I want to do a real or fake here today. I found some real, mostly Canadian bands with weather-related names because it does feel like kind of a Canadian cheat code. If you're going to name your band, name it after the weather. And then also we had some people text in some really good fake ones here. So I'll run them by you. You answer real or fake.
All right.
You'll either get a ding or a buzz. First one up, an indie folk band called Snowblink.
Snowblink?
Snowblink.
I'm going to say that's fake. I just feel like you're combining things I like, Snow and Blink-182.
I like where your head is at, but no, that is a real and not great band.
No.
They do like dreamy, ethereal indie
Snowblink?
folk. Yeah.
Okay.
Next one up, Sundogs Rising.
Sundogs Rising?
Sundogs Rising, a psychedelic funk band.
I want it to be real. Please be real.
Nope, that's a fake one.
Damn.
That one was sent in. Thank you to whoever texted that in to 762-555.
Sundogs Rising is a great name,
That's
by the way.
a great one. Next up, Cold Front Conspiracy, a post-punk band from Winnipeg.
Cold Front Conspiracy?
Yeah.
That's sick.
I know, right?
Please be real.
That's another one that got sent in.
That's not real? Oh, man.
Which means, by the way, if you hear any of these fake bands and you want to start
There's no copyright on any of them.
Cold Front Conspiracy is, as of right now, available for use. Next up, Chinook.
Chinook?
Yeah.
That's got to be real. Someone has to use that.
That is a real Australian folk and bluegrass band named after the Alberta weather phenomenon.
I was going to say, do they have Chinooks in Australia? Is that a thing?
No, apparently someone took a trip to Canada and was like, what a thing. Let's call our band.
Oh, I
this."
mean, they spend all that time out in Banff working at Sunshine anyway, so
All right, so you are 1 for 4 so far.
not good.
Lightning Dust. A
Lightning
rock
Dust?
band, indie rock band based out of Vancouver with a bit of a heavier sound.
That's so lame that it's got to be real. That's got to be a band that just plays bars, right?
Yeah, that's
Lightning
pretty much
Dust?
it.
Yeah.
I also love that it's like a Vancouver rock band. That's lame.
Lightning Dust seems like the kind of band that would send us emails and they're like, we're making our big break. And
Yeah.
it's like,
And then you put on the first song and you're just like, no.
Guys, you're going on tour with Helix. It's not that big of a deal. Relax.
All right. You've got a chance. You're coming on strong in the back half. If you get this right,
Yeah.
you finish 500.
All right.
The final band name, they're from St. John's, and they're an East Coast true style rock band called the Windbreakers.
Called the Windbreakers. Oh, please be real and please tell me they all wear windbreakers.
I'm sorry, man. I made that one up.
Oh, that has to happen.
Something that's a
Someone has
gimmick
to do that.
waiting to happen.
And they got to have a song called The Wind Didn't Stand a Chance.
Dude, imagine they go off stage at the end of the set, and instead of having like some weird like drum track to bring them back on for the encore,
It's just the swishing of their suits.
whoosh, 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 whoosh. Oh, here comes the band.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Apparently, Instagram is thinking about testing a dislike button specifically on comments.
I've started to see, so we're on Instagram at Brock and Dalby if you want to follow us. We'll follow you back if you follow during the show. I have seen on some of our videos and stuff like that, when people comment, now there's this little thin down arrow that can be clicked next to some of the names.
Oh.
And I've been wondering about, I haven't downvoted anybody yet, but I'm like, what is this for?
So apparently what they're doing is they're testing it out. Now, those who comment won't see the dislikes. It's only the people who posted the photo will see them.
Okay.
Which I think that defeats the purpose. I mean, if anyone should see the dislikes, it's the person who commented.
Right. Well, that's just it. I mean, especially nowadays, people are so mean. People say such awful things to one another on social media. And you're right. Maybe if there was a big glaring number that was like, hey, 657 people think you're kind of a dick for what you wrote here, maybe it would convince someone to change their ways a little bit.
I mean, it can go both sides of the coin, you know?
That's
Either become
true.
a hero or a villain.
This is the Brock and Delby podcast.
Just send a texty text, 762-555 right now. If you've got a question, ask it to us now. 762-555 is the number.
Have you seen Billy Ray lately? I think you actually do it better than he does these days.
762-555, as Billy Ray Cyrus once said. Send a texty text to us. All right, first question in here. It says, what's up with all these plane crashes?
I don't think they're related. If anybody missed it over the weekend in Toronto at Pearson Airport, a plane came in just way too hot and flipped over.
Well, even in general, last week, what was it? Vince Neil's plane crashed, and then there was the one crashing into the helicopter in the States.
The one in Washington, D.C. that was the big story.
If you're
there.
scared of flying, it's a terrible time right now.
Awful, absolutely awful. I was at a restaurant yesterday, and I heard a table full of people talking about the one at Pearson there, and it just, you could tell each one of them was just like, oh my God, what is happening? The planes are all crashing out of the sky.
I mean, if you want to try and connect the dots, I'm sure there's a conspiracy theory somewhere there.
Oh, absolutely. Give the internet a couple of days, right? Because now it's in 3, so that makes it official. Give the internet a couple of days. There's going to be a really cool, 25-minute video essay on
But
it.
even last year, there was a bunch of stuff around this time with planes where, the doors were flying off or the windows were opening. Remember that?
All the Boeing stuff. Yeah. And then they stranded those 2 astronauts in space, so even those weren't working.
You know, they say it's safer to fly in a plane than it is a car. I don't know, man.
Well, no, you definitely shouldn't fly in a car. That's a terrible idea.
Someone said 7 out of 8 doctors recommend stuff. I want to know who the 8th doctor is. Seriously. You know what? I actually would love when they say the 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Who are the other guys?
Put your name on it. Especially, listen, if you're the 4 out of 5 dentist that suggests Colgate or whatever, you're in the group. I want to know more about the 5th dentist.
Why didn't you like it?
What does he know that the other 4 didn't know? Is he just not willing to take the bribe that the other 4 are willing to take? Is that 5th dentist the one who's trying to stand up for our health?
Yeah, do you think they ever have their own products that they're trying to shill out? Because I'd buy it if they can't get on with the rest of the dentists,
right?
You know?
Or is that the 5th dentist that's rub charcoal on your teeth, that'll make it better?
Yeah.
Because that guy we probably shouldn't listen to.
Someone said, have you guys ever gotten in trouble at work? And if so, what was it for? I mean, people complain about stuff all the time with the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd really consider that getting in trouble.
The most I've ever gotten in trouble for was sleeping through a shift at work when I was first starting in radio. I wasn't even on the air. My job was to push the buttons to make the programming happen. It was religious programming. They would basically rent the radio station for an hour, pay an exorbitant amount of money, and then send us the audio file of them talking about God for the hour.
Okay.
And I slept in, so it didn't play. And it cost the station I worked for at the time some $6,000.
Oh, God.
So that's the most I've ever gotten in trouble. I got yelled at, rightfully so, for a very long time.
And you earned your place in hell. Fine. Wrap up with 2 more here. Someone said, what is your favorite insult of all time?
I love the phrase a friend of mine used back in the day, and it's carried with me ever since, ass cactus.
Ass cactus?
To call someone an ass cactus.
I'm a big dingus guy, but honestly, lately, I've started learning silence is the best insult.
Just not saying anything?
Just not saying anything, yeah.
Hurts my feelings every morning, by the way. Sitting over here, cracking jokes and stuff, and just get silence back. Okay, don't do it while we're on the radio. the alarm's going to go off. The silence alarm is going to go off. Is that what you want? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
I don't think I need to say anything.
Son of a...
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is harbinger. Harbinger, yep. Harbinger. Harbinger. And it's an anticipatory sign of something to come. That or one that initiates a major change. Yeah. All right. I don't know. That just about says it all. All right. Talk to you later. Have a great one. Cheers. You're up.
Thanks, Ed. So it was harbinger.
All right. Yeah. Harbinger, you've probably heard used. It's like talking about like the harbinger of death or harbinger of justice, something that comes before something that happens. Like even they talk about the four horsemen of the apocalypse that you'll see before the end of the world.
Yeah.
Those are the harbingers of the apocalypse.
Yeah. Or maybe you're going out to drinks with like your friend or your partner, and you see them slugging back the tequila, and you're like, oh, that's a harbinger that tomorrow's going to be rough.
100%. Yes. When you see someone break out the Fireball or the Jägermeister early in the evening, it is a harbinger that one of you will take his pants off and try and fight tonight.
When you're on a road trip and you see the police headlights behind you, that's a harbinger that your drive just got a little bit crappier and slower.
A harbinger of emptiness for your bank account coming up depending on the fine.
When you're hanging out with your buddy and his girlfriend calls him, that's a harbinger that he's probably going home soon.
A harbinger of the end of your evening. Yes.
Harbinger. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.